Last week Bitcoin had a crazy week and we almost reached the $100,000. In this video I'm going to tell you exactly what we can expect for Bitcoin in this week, and there's something that Bitcoin is warning us about. So I will tell you everything about Bitcoin so you can be prepared for what's coming. There's also a lot of interesting data and news coming into the markets, which I will share with you, of course, and we can see a lot of interesting numbers for the Bitcoin ETF. I will also have a look at the two altcoins, Polkadot and Chainlink, but about that later in the video. So you want to watch this video all the way to the end? Don't forget to slap up that like button because it will help this channel a lot, and let's dive right into the charts. In the beginning of the weekend, Bitcoin opened the CME gap at the $99,396, and this was the highest Bitcoin CME gap ever created in the history. We can see that Bitcoin traded around this level but then saw a huge decline and came all the way back down below this $96,000. So this was a little bit of a bearish weekend, and the weekends are getting more volatile in the bull market, and that's especially what we saw in the last bull market as well. But Bitcoin is now climbing up a little bit, but we didn't close the CME gap yet because the CME gap is around here. So we could expect that Bitcoin is going to be trading around this level and maybe see a close to later today or maybe later in the week. And this will be around the $99,396. So keep in mind that Bitcoin could come back to this level, but of course we could also come back to lower levels because there's also still a huge CME gap open around the $76,532, and this CME gap was open 2 weeks ago, so we could potentially see also that Bitcoin is coming back to lower levels to close this gap, and then from there we could see higher levels. But of course, if we're coming back to this level, then I'm going to buy in heavily for more Bitcoin for the long term. And if we have a look at the 4-hour chart, we can see that Bitcoin created higher highs on the chart, and on the RSI we saw lower highs. So this indicated that we saw a little bit of a bearish divergence unfolding, and eventually we saw a little bit of a decline, and also the RSI was cooling off a little bit, and this was all expected. So for now we can also see that we're going to create a bullish divergence because we are going to create higher lows, but on the RSI we are going to create lower lows. So this indicates that we're seeing a bullish divergence unfolding, and it's already playing out a little bit because we can see it spike to the top side. But of course we want to see more spikes to the top side, and then we can really confirm the bullish divergence. But for now, Bitcoin is still in this uptrend, so let's see what will happen in the coming days. And last week the Bitcoin ETF saw another crazy week of inflows, and in total we came above the $30 billion of total inflows. So this was an insane week, of course. And also on Thursday we saw more than $1 billion of total inflow, so this is also very bullish for the Bitcoin price. And this total cumulative inflow for the Bitcoin spot ETFs is rising like crazy, and we're seeing this spike to the top side, and we're now coming above the $13 billion in total cumulative inflow. So this is insane, of course, and this is having a very bullish effect on the price of Bitcoin. So let's see if we can see another huge bullish week, and if we see the same week as last week, then I think we will just pump above the $100,000. And on the 4-hour chart, I've been discussing this huge continuation pattern for Bitcoin. We saw this huge run up towards the new highs. Then we created a lot of consolidation. Eventually, we saw this huge breakout to the top side. We retested this resistance as support. And then we saw a beautiful pump to the top side and almost reached the $100,000. Now we're seeing a little bit of a rejection from this level because a lot of people are selling their Bitcoin around this level. And I will show you about that later in the video. But for now, we could potentially see that this previous resistance is getting turned into support again. And from this level, you can enter the market again for Bitcoin, and that will be around $92,000. But of course, if Bitcoin is coming lower, we could potentially also see a bearish break, and that we have to aim for lower levels again. And if we have a look at the daily chart, we can see that we just got front-run by the $100,000. So this was the very interesting level. And I've been telling you that when we were above the $90,000, I'm going to sell a little bit of my Bitcoin every time we climb up a little bit, because I think that a lot of people have their orders already at $100,000 to sell their Bitcoin, and that's exactly what we can see here. We see a lot of the sell orders coming into the market, and we're now seeing a little bit of a rejection. And after this huge run up to the top side, we didn't even see a correction once. So keep in mind that Bitcoin could also see a bit of a rejection and then come back to lower levels to create a higher low. And from there we can just maybe look for a higher highs, and then we can possibly break the $100,000. But for now, it is looking a little bit too strong. So as I was saying, I'm taking a little bit of profits every time we go higher. And then if we're going to see a correction, you can enter the market again on a higher low play. And if we have a look at this liquidity heat map, we can see that around the $100,000, and that is around here, we can see a lot of sell orders are coming into the market. So people are selling their Bitcoin around this level. And at the place where we are now, we can see a lot of sell orders coming in. So I don't think we will just pump straight through the $100,000 because this is a very psychological level where people sell their Bitcoin. And I think we will see a little bit of a correction in the coming days. So a lot of people don't expect this move, but I think we will just see a correction to create higher lows. And from there, you want to be entering the market again for Bitcoin. And if we have a look at the daily chart, it will look a little bit like this. We can see this huge run up for Bitcoin, and we are now seeing it exponential move to the top side. But of course, as I was saying, we didn't create a higher low from here. So potentially we could see a little bit of a correction to create a higher low. And if Bitcoin is going to create a higher low, you want to be entering the market again for the long term. And then we can aim for higher targets. But after this huge run up from the lows of the $67,000, we didn't even see one correction, and we didn't even create a higher low. So we're only just creating higher highs, and this higher high is now created. So potentially Bitcoin could see a little bit of correction, and when this correction happens, you want to be entering the market again. And of course, as I was saying, you always have to take a little bit of profits when we are at all-time highs, and especially around that $100,000 level is a very interesting level to take some profits. And as I was saying, you can maybe take some profits before we reach the $100,000. So when we are at the $96,000, I took a little bit of profits, just like I said in my earlier video. So I think Bitcoin could see a little bit of rejection from this $100,000 level. And if we're coming lower, then I will review my price targets next for Bitcoin and where I will be buying more Bitcoin for the long term. And if we have a look at the Bitcoin quarterly returns, we can see that Q4 is already up for 54.5%. So this is insane, of course. And this was all because October and November are treating us very well. And in October, we saw almost an 11% increase for Bitcoin. And in November, we're already seeing almost a 40% increase. And every time in history, we saw a bullish September, October, and November. Also, we saw a very bullish December. So with a minimum of double digits. So if December is going to see double digits, then we will most likely see levels of Bitcoin around the $120,000. So this could be a very interesting end of the year. And let me know what your price prediction for Bitcoin is at the end of 2024. And if we zoom all the way out to the weekly time frame, we can see this beautiful bull flag formation was unfolding. And in hindsight, this was looking very obvious because after this huge run up to the top side, we can see a lot of consolidation happening. And after we broke out to the top side, we can see that Bitcoin retested this previous resistance as support perfectly. And from there, we saw this exponential move to the top side. And this bull flag has a breakout target of $110,000, so that will be around here. And we didn't reach it yet, but of course there is a huge resistance around the $100,000 because this is a very psychological level, and a lot of people tend to sell their Bitcoin around this level. But eventually, when Bitcoin is going to correct and maybe see another attempt to break the $100,000, then we will reach the breakout target of $110,000 in the coming weeks, I believe. And if we then zoom all the way out to the monthly time frame, we can also see that the month of October was very bullish. We finally broke out of the huge consolidation formation which we were in for the last 8 months. We also retested this previous all-time high as support, so this was very obvious in hindsight. And after this bullish retest, because we broke it to the top side, we retested it as support, we can now see this exponential move to the top side. And eventually October and November are very insane months for us. So for instance, if November closes this candle around here, this is one of the most bullish candles ever. And this could be the biggest increase for Bitcoin in 1 month, because we are already seeing a 28,000 increase for Bitcoin in this month. And this could be the biggest month ever for Bitcoin. And the first interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Polkadot. I've been talking about Polkadot when we were in this huge consolidation formation to the downside, and eventually we saw that this huge support area on the lower side was holding strong, and every time we touched this area on the lower side, I've been buying more Polkadot. And now we can see this huge bullish momentum to the top side. We broke bullish out of this falling wedge, we retest this resistance as support perfectly, and then we saw more top side. But then I said that this huge resistance area was coming into play. And this could be a very interesting place to take a little bit of your profits, because this was a very interesting price interaction level in the past. As we can see here, we can see multiple touch points as support and later as resistance. But we can see that Polkadot has been pumping like crazy in the last 3 days, and now we broke into the top side. So this exponential move for Polkadot is insane, of course. And now we're running into a huge horizontal resistance again. and this could be a very interesting place to also take your profits. Because always after a huge run, you want to take in a little bit of profits, because after a huge run, we could also potentially see a little bit of a correction, and then we can create higher lows. From this higher low place, you want to enter the market again, and then we can aim for the next spike to the top side. But for now, we have to paint this previous resistance in green because it's now turned into support. But we could also potentially see a little bit of a rejection to test lower levels as support. And this could be a very interesting place to put your buy orders again. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So if Polkadot is coming back to this level around the $6.5, I'm going to buy again into the market for DOT. And the next interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Chainlink. We can see Chainlink was around this huge resistance area. We broke it to the top side after some consolidation on the downside. Then we retested this previous resistance as support, and from this bullish retest we entered the market just like I've been saying on my socials, and now we can see this huge spike to the top side for Chainlink. So we are also breaking above this huge resistance area, and this is looking very bullish. So we could potentially see a little bit of a retest to test this lower level as support, and then we can maybe enter the market again for Chainlink if you want to, and then we can aim for higher targets. But this big resistance is now broken to the top side, so we can paint it green because it has been turned into support. So let's see what the next big target for Chainlink will be, and this will be around this level because there's also a lot of resistance coming into the market, because in the past we can see a lot of price interactions around this level. So keep in mind that if we're coming to this level, you could potentially take a little bit of profits. And from the entry of my trade from this bullish retest around here, we are already up for more than 45%, so that's insane of course. So congratulations if you took this trade together with me. And let me know in the comments if you still hold Chainlink in your portfolio and what your price prediction for Chainlink in the coming bull market is. So please give a like if you think this video was useful. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.